Bud Crawford? Oh, absolutely. We'll be there, Stephen A. We'll see Bud Crawford and Canelo. And I want to see that fight. But I would rather see him fight Benavidez. I agree with you.
Landing punches, like just the whole stat. Crawford is leading. And so I do think that it's a tough fight, but I will lean more towards Crawford simply of his, skill set.
That power ain't gonna be able to sustain throughout the fight. Watch.
Shannon Sharpe did not hold back when warning Canelo Álvarez about the dangers of facing Terence Crawford. Speaking live on air, he reminded viewers that despite competing at 147 pounds, Crawford regularly spars with much bigger fighters and handles them with ease. Sharpe stressed that Crawford moving up in weight actually makes him more dangerous, not less. His message to Canelo was clear: underestimate Crawford, and it could be a costly mistake.
Great fighters, they're not going to give me my due because I'm going to have 3 or 4 losses. And that's what's happening. Guys won't fight anybody that the fans want to see, or a fighter that's deserving. You're absolutely right. David Benavidez deserved to fight Canelo, but Canelo doesn't want to fight him because he knows there's a greater chance of him losing versus Benavidez versus Bigger Charlo. And so that's what. Now, am I gonna go see the if it happens, Bud Crawford? Oh, absolutely. We'll be there, Stephen A. We'll see Bud Crawford and Canelo, and I want to see that fight. But I would rather see him fight Benavidez. I agree with you.
Daniel Jacobs gave a measured breakdown of both fighters before sharing his pick. He acknowledged Canelo's power and experience but argued that Crawford's advanced skill set makes him a uniquely difficult opponent. Jacobs emphasized Crawford's ability to switch styles mid-fight, throwing off opponents and neutralizing their strengths. While Canelo has shown his toughness against big punchers like Gennady Golovkin, Jacobs believes Crawford's speed, precision, and ring IQ present a different type of challenge. For those reasons, Jacobs ultimately leans toward Crawford as the fighter with the edge.
For instance, when he fought the guy that he lost to just recently.
Bivol,
yeah. Shout out to Bivol. He wasn't really able to find that niche there, but in spurts you can see him adapting, right? And so the biggest difference between Bivol and Crawford is the size difference in the power. Even though Bivol was an ultimate boxer, he still was able to keep him off him with the sheer power and strength. But with Crawford, I think that it'll be challenging for Canelo to get around the skill set, but it wouldn't be challenging for him to be able to endure the pain. And so that's what Canelo, because the mindset too is, if you can't hurt me, no matter what you do, I'm going to keep coming forward. So if Canelo could adapt that mindset, take the shots, because he's going to be thrown, and if you look at the stats too, in terms of punch output, in terms of landing punches, like just the whole stat, Crawford is leading. And so I do think that it's a tough fight, but I will lean more towards Crawford simply of his, skill set.
Is this the biggest fight for his legacy? If obviously he wins, I think.
Crawford.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think it would be the biggest win. But given the fact that a lot of people, I think, expect Canelo to win because of the weight, where do you rank this in comparison to that huge fight with Errol Spence?
So if Canelo wins, it would be one of his most top tier wins. But it would also be expected, so I don't know if it would take the umph off of it, rather the other way around because of the size difference and what all Canelo has been accomplishing for the last however many years.
Ade Oladipo explained that what separates Crawford from most fighters is his ability to inflict damage without relying solely on brute force. Crawford's timing and accuracy allow him to land punches opponents don't see coming, shots that hurt more than they appear. Oladipo argued that Canelo, while durable, can be outmaneuvered by disciplined fighters who refuse to get dragged into brawls. Crawford excels at staying patient, waiting for the perfect opening. To Oladipo, this combination of intelligence and precision is exactly why he favors Crawford in the matchup.
Put that pressure on himself. He's done what no one's ever done before. 2-time undisputed world champion. So why not just enjoy? But obviously you want to go for that next challenge. Now for him, he wants to go for that Canelo. I would advise him not to go for that. But if he's the man and he knows how good he is himself. So there's no, I can't really say to him that do this or do that. So really,
He believes in his skills. He feels
He believes in his skill. We can't answer for him. We let him go and do it. You know what I'm saying? And we all might be wrong. He might be even stronger than Canelo. He might be stronger than Canelo. He might pack the weight on well. That he might do really well in there. So look,
You fought them both. Like, what are the differences between them? Obviously, it's weight.
Canelo's strong and he's easily hit. Very easily hit, very easily. Compared to when I fought against Crawford. Crawford, I couldn't even hit clean. So really, that's the difference. And they both hit hard. Because, and you can see the strength. You know, when I was fighting against Crawford, I didn't think Crawford was that strong, but when he kind of moved me around a little bit, he is very strong as well. So look, yeah, but why does he need to give that much weight? He's pound for pound #1 in the world. Why does he have to go up and fight Canelo?
I don't
prove anything.
Canelo would say payday, but Crawford wants to be 3-time undisputed, and if he does that, oh my goodness.
Wow. I mean, that would be unreal. But look, if he believes in himself, yes, go for it. But don't do it if he's got second thoughts. If he's got second thoughts, don't do it. If he has to be 100% confident, and listen, I'll even go and help him for that if I have to. You know what I mean? Because look, I love Crawford. I think he's a lovely guy. Because I got to know him when I trained with him away from the boxing ring, away from boxing, and the guy's he's a diamond. You know what I mean? So if I can help him in any way, I'd love to do that. But look, but if I was him, just enjoy what you've got now, and don't take no risks.
I think you just got to watch the Bivol blueprint, the in and out. I mean, a lot of fighters getting stick now for being runners, Tom and Jerry and whatnot. Let's stick to what you're good at.
Bozy Ennis praised Crawford's ring efficiency, noting that every punch he throws has a clear purpose. Unlike fighters who waste energy with unnecessary shots, Crawford carefully calculates when and how to strike. Ennis said this level of discipline reflects Crawford's high boxing IQ, helping him stay accurate while conserving energy. Over a long fight, this approach allows Crawford to maintain stamina while gradually breaking opponents down. Ennis believes this precision and control will be key against Canelo, where every small edge counts.
Terence, so people don't understand. He can box and he's smart.
Yes.
He don't waste no punches, man.
He don't waste that energy.
And he's really smart, man, when it comes to that boxing game. But it was me and I'm training him.
Yeah.
I would have him frustrating Canelo. What I would do with him, I would hit him with some good shots, combination shots, because you know, Canelo got to be set to throw punches.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? If Crawford boxing move, he don't like nobody to boxing move. And that's what I think Crawford's going to do. And
Diego Pacheco offered a balanced take, acknowledging both fighters' paths to victory. He suggested that Crawford's sharp technique and defensive awareness give him the advantage in winning rounds over 12 frames, while Canelo's body-punching power gives him a real chance of scoring a knockout if he lands clean. Pacheco framed the fight as a clash of styles, Crawford's distance control and combinations versus Canelo's pressure and heavy hands. The outcome, he said, will come down to who dictates the pace.
Your thoughts on that Canelo versus Crawford fight? How do you see that fight going, and what's your prediction?
That's a very, very good fight. You know, two great fighters. I grew up admiring them my whole life, you know, so I'm excited for that fight. I think Crawford is a hell of a fighter. You know, if it goes the distance, he might be able to get that decision win. But I think if there's a knockout, then it might be Canelo who's getting the knockout win. But I'm ready to watch the fight. You know, I'm going to be a big fan that night, and just be rooting for both guys. You know, they're both great fighters.
Ade Oladipo reflected on Canelo's career, noting that while he remains elite, he is no longer the unstoppable force he was in his prime. Oladipo pointed to the Golovkin rematch in 2018 as peak Canelo when his strength, skill, and confidence all seemed unmatched. But that was 7 years ago, and while Canelo is still excellent, his recent performances show subtle signs of decline. Oladipo suggested that sparring with young, hungry fighters like Jaron Boutsenis may be Canelo's way of trying to regain sharpness that has naturally faded. This raises the question, can today's version of Canelo handle Crawford, who is operating at the peak of his powers?
But he fought a very, very good Canelo. I don't think that Crawford is fighting the best Canelo anymore. Again, the Canelo I'm talking about, I mean, second Golovkin fight, I thought was fucking incredible. That was... That feels like a long, long time ago. Second Golovkin fight was 2018. So I'm saying peak Canelo although still very, very good, people, peak Canelo for me was 6 years ago. It's a long time, or 5.5 years. That's a long time. In fact, exactly 15th of September. So it'll be to the day 5 years. Have I got them? What was I talking about? Sorry, what was it? 7 years ago. Jeez, that's a long time ago. Where some might say peak Crawford was Errol. So, shit, I didn't realize how long ago that was. And he's clearly not that same guy anymore. He clearly isn't. He's no longer fighting elite fighters. I mean, unless you're going to say William Skull was elite, Edgar Berlanga, no, Munguia, no, Jamel, no, John Ryder, no, the third Golovkin fight, no. So he's no longer fighting the best, but he still is very good, and he's still a top 168 pounder. And I think this is why people are saying it is a 50-50 fight now, because we can see the deterioration in Canelo. Like, say what you want about William Skull, Canelo looked poor in that fight as well. Everyone's like, oh, William Skull ran. Well, Canelo didn't cut off the exits. Canelo wasn't great himself. Canelo's punch output was horrendous. So we can clearly see the deterioration. That said, he is the naturally bigger guy. I just mentioned the fact that Crawford's put on size, but the naturally bigger guy in this weight class is Canelo. That has to count for something.
Regis Prograis pushed back against the idea that Crawford's power will bother Canelo. He argued that Álvarez has taken shots from naturally bigger, heavy-handed fighters without being seriously hurt and has one of the strongest chins in boxing. Prograis did acknowledge, however, that Crawford's superior movement and tactical intelligence give him a chance to outbox Canelo. But in his view, skill and strategy, not power, will have to be Crawford's path to victory.
You know, I think that Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo. You gotta look at it, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, you know, and he can look bigger Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin, he fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference, Jamel looked like the bigger man. You know, his head, his neck, everything looked bigger, but when they got in the fight, you can tell. You can see who really was the bigger man, and I think that's the same thing. Crawford is putting on weight, but it's not weight. Like Canelo had the weight already. He doesn't have to put on muscle. He doesn't have to do that. He's already big like that. But I think that Crawford does have the style. He does have the style to beat him. If you look at the people that beat him or gave him troubles, Irislan, De Lara, Austin Trout, Floyd, and Bivol, you know, they gave him trouble and stuff like that. And Skull moved around a little bit too. So I think that Crawford has that. But I don't know how Crawford is gonna respond when he gets hit. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel was undisputed at 154, and Canelo hit him and shit. Jamel was like, hell no. Jamel took a knee, you know. So it's a big difference. And Crawford had that one fight at 154, and he didn't, you know, Madrimov would touch him up a little bit. And this is nowhere close to Madrimov. You talk about Canelo. Now, if it was just another bigger guy, I would go with Crawford. But you talk about a great. This might be. I mean, people might kill me for it, but well, not really, but this might be the best Mexican fighter ever. One of them, at least, right? You talk about Canelo and Crawford going up against him. So the only thing they have, but I would say the only thing he has going for him is he's a skillful fighter, and Canelo is old.
Crawford's trainer highlighted the importance of conditioning in this matchup. He said that if Canelo slows down or begins to fade in the later rounds, Crawford will capitalize with his superior speed and counterpunching ability. Known for turning up the pressure late, Crawford thrives as opponents tire. The trainer warned that losing even a step against a fighter like Crawford could be the difference between winning and losing.
And you have to fight. Watch. And he usually slows down between 6 and 7. You slow down, that's a fucking wrap.
That's what you've been seeing in these last couple fights from him?
I mean, yeah. Fuck yeah. I seen him slow down, going into the later rounds, and I seen his ass get outboxed.
Brian McIntyre, and I will say this openly, is one of the best trainers in boxing. He absolutely knows his job, and I know he knows his job better than I know his job. So take my observation with a grain of salt. However, sometimes I get these things right, and I think that Brian McIntyre is making a miscalculation. Now, what do I mean? He basically said that one of the biggest advantages that Terence Crawford has over Canelo Álvarez is that Canelo Álvarez slows down. And that he says that after round 6, round 7, that Canelo Álvarez usually starts slowing down. And if he slows down against Terence Crawford, that is going to be a very, very huge mistake. And Terence Crawford is going to be able to take advantage of that. All right. First and foremost, let me say this. If it was the case that Terence Crawford was fighting Canelo Álvarez at 147 pounds, or even at 154 pounds, and Canelo Álvarez started slowing down, that definitely could be very, very big trouble against a guy like Terence Crawford, because Terence Crawford is an incredible counterpuncher, and if you show him any opening.
Teddy Atlas gave one of the strongest endorsements of Crawford's chances, calling him a complete fighter with the discipline, adaptability, and mental toughness to beat anyone even while moving up in weight. Atlas argued that Canelo is no longer the hungry warrior he once was and suggested that years of fame and success have dulled his competitive edge. He even labeled Canelo overrated compared to Crawford, citing recent performances as evidence of decline.
Again, or you could agree again, it's up to you, whatever. But he's made so much money that the urgency's not there, the fire's not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. At least I say that. It wasn't there a week ago. Maybe it'll be there now. Maybe he's the kind of guy that, and I get it, that at this point in their career, it has to be a big fight to get up. That Canelo can't get up for these fights. He couldn't get up for that fight. All right, if you want to go down that road, go ahead. But my road is still possible. That he got old, that just doesn't have that fire no more. Oh my God, I'm going to say this one. That maybe he's a little overrated. I listen, I know he's tremendous. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? If you look at some of his biggest fights, the fights where you had to be great to win, that you fought great fighters or near great fighters, you can make the argument that he lost the first Triple G.
Jose Vargas Jr., who has sparred with Crawford, provided an insider's perspective. He praised Crawford's accuracy and timing but questioned whether his punches carry enough power to truly hurt Canelo. Vargas pointed out that Álvarez has already withstood punishment from bigger, harder punchers like Golovkin and Kovalev. Still, he admitted that Crawford's ability to break rhythm and frustrate opponents could allow him to win rounds and potentially take a decision on points.
But Crawford, what work is left? What else is going to be done in camp?
All we're doing is putting the final touches. I mean, I've been sparring Ron Ellis. I mean, this guy is a dog, bro. He's been getting me ready. I mean, he's been Canelo's sparring partner. Shout out to my guy Ron, man. He tries to knock me out every single sparring. This guy fights at 68, big dude, goes southpaw, and hits hard. So I know he fought Benavidez. So he's a veteran, and he's doing better in tactics in there, where he's not letting me rest in the clinch. He's making me work every second of every round. And I got something for Callum. I got something for the whole boxing world. And I feel you're just as good as your preparation. And we've been doing the road work. We've been doing the mountain work. I've been recovering hard. I've been getting my rest. I haven't been drinking no dark sodas, bro.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more coverage next time.